want to hear conflicting viewpoints in jokes. Like that's what I
Yeah.
like too.
Yeah.
And
Or some like off the wall perspective because the person is of a certain age or a certain background or something, like some way that is not like a conventional way
well,
of.
that's what I've told you too. Is why I believe you were successful, like coming right out the gate, is
Yeah.
because you have such a unique perspective starting later in life. Like you
Mm-hmm.
had so much experience that like I started when I was 25, so I didn't even like. I still don't know who I am yet, really. You know what I mean? Like, still figuring it
Yeah. And
out.
I'm like,
And
I know
like,
who I am. I have no fucks to give. I don't care.
yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is season 2, episode 38 of Shooting the Breeze. And tonight, my guest is Al Babcock. Al is a comic and producer out of Kingston. Welcome to the show, Al.
Thanks. It's good to be back.
Yeah, exactly. You were on my show, my first season last summer. And that was the first time we'd actually spoken to each other.
Yeah. Now we've done quite a few shows since then too.
Exactly. Yeah. We've done a few shows together since that time. So, how have you been since the last time you were here? Between then and now, how have things been?
Well, a lot's happened. We've been able to keep shows going on some sort of level through Kingston, trying to adapt through this through the pandemic. My son is 1 years old now, so
He's adorable.
just being a dad, and yeah, I mean, I can lie and say I'm doing great, but I mean, it's terrible out there right now.
It is.
So
Oh, I hear you. I hear
uh,
you.
just trying to keep healthy mentally and just try to enjoy life during the pandemic a little bit.
Yeah, as much as we can do that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I always feel like a fraud when I'm like, I'm good, I'm fine. Because it's like,
yeah,
no, I'm not. I've gained 400 pounds and I cry
yeah.
every day. It's like
When people do interviews with me, I always tell them, I'm like, do you want me to give like the, oh, I'm good so we can get the interview done? Or do you want me to be like, no, I'm pretty shitty right now.
exactly. I
I don't know
know.
if you want me to depress the audience.
No, I want you to be as comfortable and as real as you want to be. Yeah.
Oh, things are good though. And like I said, with comedy, we're trying to adapt whatever guidelines we get. We get different guidelines every day here in Kingston because
Yeah.
we're not on we're not on lockdown, but we literally just got moved to the yellow like 2 hours ago. So
Oh, you're in
um,
yellow. Okay, because we went to red as of
yeah,
midnight. So
we've been in green for a while with just like regulations, and then yeah, today it was moved to yellow. So we kind of have to pivot with shows and all that, like make sure we can cover it. I had to cancel one of my Tommy shows just because place is too small to follow the guidelines that are in place. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't want anyone getting sick. It's not just selfish. Like,
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
we don't just want to go in and, put 10 comedians up. That's a bit weird. We have to think of the health of the community as well. So
Exactly. Because even though we may not get sick, we could get someone sick. You're in yellow now. From like, what does yellow mean?
um, basically, it show wise, like you can only have 5 people at a table in a restaurant. I think the capacity is 25% of a normal.
Okay.
So most restaurants are like or venues are capped at 50 people usually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then you just mostly all the guidelines that are in place, like plexiglass and just masks and all that. But it's like every venue is different because every venue is a different size, and
Exactly.
a lot of the venues I use in Kingston as like my independent venues are smaller. So when you cut their when you cut Tommy's cap into 25%, that's like 10 people.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth it to put the show on, or it's not good for them either. So yeah.
Right. Because we moved into the red zone, Ottawa, at midnight, and so all of our live shows are canceled because red is maximum 10 people indoors. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do much with 10. We were in orange before, where it was capped at 50, like at the clubs and stuff like that. And of course, depending on the size of the venue, but 10, excuse me, 10, you can't do much with 10.
No, I mean, I have performed at open mics before with 10 people. That's for sure.
Same.
but
we weren't
yeah.
planning for 10 at those,
Yeah.
those times. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's the huge difference. So yeah, it's, I know that, like, for myself, it's like, as soon as things are lifted, I'm like, like running out to get booked as, you know, on as many shows and do as many things as I can. Partly because I love to do it, first of all. And then second of all, I'm cooped up here by myself all the time. And it's just itching to be around people and to perform and to be out there again, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate that we had come out of the province-wide lockdown that started Boxing Day, I think. And Ottawa came out of it, I think it was like the 17th of February, something like that. And I got to perform live at least four times. So I'm happy about that, and I'm lucky for that I got those opportunities. But I always feel a little, every time it closes down, it feels like a part of me, a little more of me dies every time we get shut down again, you know? Every
time, we get shut down, I get closer and closer to changing careers. Like that's basically what it is. Like I'm like, oh man, it might not ever come back. Like,
because you do it full time, right?
Yeah, and like it's hard to produce. Like, I mean, it's the same thing booking shows as producing shows, but I have to get a hold of all the comedians and everything, and then I booked this Tommy show, and then we got regulations put on, so I had to cancel it. I had to postpone it a week, and then we just got regulations put on like 2 days before it, so now we can't do it. Like, so it really sucks to even try and plan something.
Because you never know if it's going to go through or not.
Yeah,
you know.
So
because I know I've had a show. We're going to call it like the curse show or something, because it's been postponed. I think this last time it was this was like the third or fourth time that it was postponed, and I don't know if we're going to do it still or when, but it's been pushed and pushed and pushed, because every time we schedule it, we're either in a lockdown or some change has come that we can't do it. And it's unfortunate, and it does make it difficult to at least from a producer standpoint to plan.
Well, I mean, even Yuck Yucks closed. Even Yuck Yucks closed. So from a big, like, not even a producer standpoint, but from a club standpoint, they had to make changes. Like, that's insane. Like,
exactly.
They're doing the same thing, pivoting, trying to find a new venue, like as quick as they can.
Exactly. Exactly.
There still is people. Sorry, there's
still want to go.
Yeah, like all the shows we put on, there's still a crowd. So people still want to watch comedy.
Exactly. Because I did a show in Alexandria 2 weekends ago. And the owner was telling us that if there were no restrictions or anything, he could have had people like packed to the rafters, sort of thing, that like up until like 7:00, like shortly before the show started, he was turning people away at the door.
We just did a brewery in Kingston, Daft Brewery, on Friday, and then I did my own show at Musiki, which is but inside, and both of them, like, we had to turn people away at the door.
Because people want to go.
Yeah.
People are starving for it. Oh, Muziki, did you do it inside
No,
or
there's an upstairs there as well. It's like a pretty, it's a small room, but it can hold like 20 still. I think we had
oh,
23 in
okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Because I know
once,
when I was there, we were outside,
yeah,
but
and once it
then
gets
I remember
nicer
the
out,
inside. Yeah, the
yeah,
outside is beautiful, like the courtyard and everything. It's really nice. But I was remembering that inside, and I was like, that was really small. So you're saying there's an upstairs
yeah,
room?
there's like the little cafe that can hold maybe like 4 tables,
Yeah,
but there's an
if that
upstairs.
many.
Yeah, that's basically, it's all open with like benches kind of.
Oh, okay.
You can put like
Okay.
20 people in there, and it's really
Okay.
good for live music as well. But once it gets nicer out, we'll be back on the patio, and that'll be nice
Yeah, the
because there's
patio was really nice. Yeah,
yeah, I think
that
we
was a
did
nice show.
35 out on the patio, so that was
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah. Because it was a good number, but it wasn't like space too spacey. It wasn't
yeah.
too spaced out, but it was a good yeah, it was a good number. And it's a
With
really
that,
beautiful area.
with the little hidden courtyard there too, it kind of makes it feel like an enclosed space, like kind of like a
Yes.
comedy club,
Yeah.
and not like it's on a patio. Like it's
Right. Like you're not on the sidewalk sort of a
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I liked it when I was there. That was a nice spot. A nice spot. Yeah, that it's like we can't plan for anything because I know people are optimistic that we'll all be vaccinated or most of us will be vaccinated by the summer and things will be kind of back to normal. But I don't know if I'm just so like heartbroken
yeah,
after a year that I'm like I can't be positive or too
yeah.
hopeful yet because I still think we have like at least two lockdowns left, at least two this year.
Yeah,
One I think one before the summer and then one like September or something. I don't know.
Kingston's really sad too because we'll be doing really good. Like we have the best numbers, and then like the Queen students will throw a party. Like this past weekend or St. Patty's Day, there was 130-person party
That's so
thrown.
irresponsible.
I know. So and now the numbers have spiked in
Yes,
Kingston by like
of
40.
of course,
Yeah,
130 people in one space.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
now like the restaurants have to shut down and stuff again because of it. Like, and it sucks that the general population is following the rules, so there's
yeah,
really no end to it. Like we're all being punished and have to stay inside
yeah.
for other people's actions, and it sucks.
It does. It really does. It really does. And that's yeah, because was it before there was one lockdown? I think it might have been the one in the fall where there were numerous areas. Like I think Kingston was one, Ottawa was one where the numbers were good, but
Mhm.
because of other areas, they shut the whole province down.
Well, what
And we
happened
were
to
all
us the
like,
first time too was, yeah, it was Kingston was like barely had any numbers when it was like really bad in the summer. And then so Kingston was in the green, and people started traveling from Toronto and from Montreal, from Ottawa, and then Kingston just got it. Like,
yeah, yeah, because
uh,
that's the thing. Like, if one spot's open, people are
yeah.
going to try and gravitate towards there. It's like, oh, we can perform there. You
And then
know?
I know business owners too who were trying to be really responsible. Like they were trying to do the right thing and check people's IDs and be like, if you're not from Kingston, we're not going to let you in. And then they got fined for doing that,
Oh, really?
for like turning people away,
Wow.
because it's just a gray area of like trying to protect and being discriminatory to people.
It's
So
true. That's
like,
such a
so
tough thing to do because, like, establishments are struggling,
yeah,
and so you want people to come, but then people come and you're like, well, you're not from here, so we can't let you in. You
exactly.
got to go
It just
back.
sounds wrong to
It
say it,
sounds
right?
wrong.
That you're doing the right thing. Like, oh, you're from Toronto, we don't want you
Yeah,
here. Like it's,
exactly.
but
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh my
uh,
goodness.
And businesses don't want to turn away people either. Like they're not
They
trying to
can't
do
afford
that.
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing. They really can't afford to.
yeah,
Especially if they're operating at like a fourth of their capacity.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a tough thing because like I see it from both ends, like wanting to perform, but then also wanting to keep your establishment and your city safe,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And
It's
like were
just
they restricting people from like red zone places or from anywhere?
basically, yeah, they were trying to do just kind of within, I think it was within like an hour.
Okay.
Like, so anywhere like within an hour away, they were just kind of turning people away. This was when they were first kind of let us back out, I think.
Okay.
And no one really knew like what the fuck was going on or what to do.
Because
So
everything is so vague, and I think it's worded vaguely on purpose.
it's great that it's vague for comedians because it goes against dancing and karaoke, but not comedy.
It's true.
So
Yes, we
we
can't
can,
dance and we can't sing,
yeah,
and we're like, we do neither.
yeah,
We're good. We're good.
yeah. So there's no musical comedy, I guess. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So have you been able to, in the times that we've been open since the summer to now, have you been able to like produce and perform often?
Yeah, like we just did two this past week, and I got one coming up with Jeff Leeson, who's one of the best comedians in
Oh
Canada.
yeah.
He's coming down to Kingston to do a show next Wednesday. So hopefully that one, like we can keep going with that. But yeah, I mean, when I thought about it, I have still done quite a few shows during this, like as many as I could. I did a couple show run with Kenny and Spenny there. So like I actually got to see some pretty big sold out crowds. Well, not sold, like it's 50 people, but we did like
Yeah.
4 shows in a row. So that was actually kind of nice because you got 4 different crowds and you just got some more stage time in too, right? So
Exactly.
um
Wow. Good.
it's been nice to perform. I miss performing to big crowds, like just 100 people or like I've performed to like 500 before and I just love it.
Really?
Yeah. And like
Yeah, I think the biggest. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, I just find bigger crowds are better for me, and like smaller crowds when I'm trying out my new material is a lot more awkward.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's true because the thing is with even if the proportion of people laughing and not laughing is the same, the large crowd and a smaller crowd, the larger crowd, it feels like everyone's laughing, even though it could be the same ratio,
Exactly, like you're right. Like like Musiki the other night, there's like 20 people there. Probably had like 15 of them laughing out of the 20 at the jokes, but it didn't sound like 15 people just because it was like small.
Yeah.
But like 15 people liked it, but it just didn't sound the same as like when 100 people do. And like you said, is contagious, especially with some of the jokes I tell. They're like, I guess, dark. So people just kind of like look around the room and don't know if they should laugh or not. And I see that a lot. So
yeah, because people are like,
yeah,
before they start laughing.
I see it all the time. It's funny. But
because I think the biggest crowd was before lockdown. I think was might have been Yuck Yucks in like January when they were at capacity, so like 150.
yeah,
I don't think it could hold like 200, but I know it's at least 150.
yeah.
So it was that, and then at Absolute out here in February, where it was
The biggest crowd I ever had, but it was 420 in Toronto, the 420 march. And I mean, there was like a couple thousand people there, but they weren't there to see me. It was just me talking into a microphone while everyone's stoned out of their minds. So only like I think like only the people who were literally watching me do it like got what was going on. But it
Everyone
was
else had
really
no
fun.
idea what else was happening.
Yeah, it was really fun just to be on a stage and see like 2,000 people, but like no one really cares. They're all just walking around. Like,
They don't even notice the stage. You know?
yeah, when I started, I literally like I would take sets anywhere. And one thing I did was I would always look up events like in Kingston and stuff. Like, oh, there's this event going on downtown. I was like, well, someone needs to MC it, and
Ah,
normally they get maybe someone from a radio station or something to do it. And I
yeah.
just kept on like pitching myself, and I was like, I'll do it. And yeah, that got me like a lot of opportunities from there. Just to do like it, and it's different, right? It's not stand-up comedy. You're an MC, so
Yes.
I took, and you're there to like promote the event or whatever. So you can't tell dark jokes and like ruin the whole event or whatever. It forced me to learn some like clean comedy, and then
Yeah.
it forced me to be a better like comedian MC as well when I went back to doing jokes.
Yeah, I can see that. I could see how that would like working that muscle would help as a comic host
Yeah,
and also as a comic. I could see how that experience. And that's a good idea. That's a good idea to do that because I never thought of that. But yeah, usually events like that, it's like some a radio personality, radio or TV personality that they would ask to
yeah.
host it.
My biggest thing was I'm friends with a lot of musicians in Kingston. So all the time I would just be like, hey, like, there's always like some downtime in between the bands setting up, like 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, you want me to go
Right.
up and like entertain the crowd while you guys do that? And that's how I got into doing those like 500 people shows and stuff,
Oh
because I was
wow.
opening for bands and everything, and ended up being an MC. And it's completely different animal. Yeah, like
Hmm.
completely different to, I mean, they're not there to see you, so you can't make it
Right. They're
about
there for the
you.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just, and yeah, it can turn bad like quick.
I've seen it go back.
I remember it wasn't really a band, but I opened up for Trailer Park Boys. It wasn't the three guys. It was Randy and Leahy. I opened up for them, and the crowd was like so hammered already when we got there, and we're like chanting for them, and didn't
Oh.
know that there was an opener. So
Oh, so they were mad.
yeah, they were like, "Hey, you guys ready for like Randy and Leahy?" Everyone screams, and they're like, "Okay, but first, here comes Al Babcock."
And you're like, really, dude? Thanks.
I just remember like me, I would, after every punchline, every single time, like I would still get laughs, but every single time someone would just yell out some random Trailer Park Boys line, and they were just like so insanely crazy. Like it was like performing at a house party.
Oh my
Like,
God.
but it's fun. Like you have to put yourself in a lot of situations, I believe, as a comedian. So that's why I
Yeah.
like doing the small shows at Tommy's, doing club shows, doing uh, backyard shows, anywhere.
Yeah. Oh
A
yeah.
crowd's a crowds, and if you can work a crowd, like I didn't really believe I was a real comedian until I left Kingston.
Oh
Like,
really?
cause well, just because like I perform here a lot, and
Yeah, no, that's true. I felt the same
as
way. Yeah.
as soon as you leave and you go even to Oshawa, when I moved there for a year, the crowds and what they laugh at are completely different. And
Yeah.
then, so if you can take your material from Kingston and go to Toronto and you're still doing really well, I mean, that's good. And you like, I have to drop all my local references or whatever, but that's fine. I can
Right.
build up other local references for other places.
For
But
that place.
yeah,
Exactly. No, that's true. Cause I know when I went to Montreal, I think it was, yeah, it was in the summer when I went to Montreal, I think like 3 times. But the first time when I went, and I was like, oh, I did well. Like they laughed, and I was like, okay, I feel real because I was
yeah,
outside of like my little fishbowl that I'm used to, and I went outside somewhere else, and still got got positive reactions. So
That's basically, yeah, the moment I felt like I had something, because like when I do these dark jokes and stuff, and I was doing them in Kingston, and I was like, okay, I kind of built up a reputation for doing that.
Hmm.
But then I knew when I went into like, I featured at Swizzles one night, and I was like, if I can crush at Swizzles with these jokes, like completely different crowd, then I must have good material. It's not
Yes.
just, or
Yeah.
at
It's
least
not
I'm
just on
getting
your
there.
reputation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because
So
that's the thing. Like if they know you and they've seen you before and they're like, oh, yeah, this person's funny, they're more amped to laugh than
yeah,
somebody who's never seen you, never heard of you, and
and
you make them
that's
laugh.
that's kind of come back to bite me too, because in my first 2 years, I was way more of like a one-liner dark comedian, like just saying like edgier stuff. And I kind of moved away from that into doing like more bits and more wordy stuff. But like people will come up to me who saw me 2 years ago and be like, oh, how come you're not telling this joke or that joke anymore? And it's like, because like that was a like, I'm glad they laughed at it, but that was a really amateur joke back then. I'm trying to move
Yeah,
on with like my
you've evolved.
material.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've evolved. That's the thing.
yeah,
I like going to like a different city,
yeah.
or a different town just because it's like, let's see what happens. Like let's see.
That's I do a lot of small, like when I can actually produce and put on the shows I want to put on. I do a lot of small towns. Like there's a lot of like just rural towns around Kingston, and towns with one bar, right? So you put everyone's there to begin with, and
Yeah.
then you put
Or
on
at
a
the
comedy
Legion or
show.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but Legions too. They
Yeah.
work. I do Legion shows with Jeff Leeson, and they work all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but those shows are perfect because those people never see stand-up comedy, and they really appreciate. Like maybe they've seen it in another city, but you know what I mean, not in their town,
Yeah. Right.
and they really actually appreciate the show. I find when you come in and do the show,
Yeah.
like they treat
Yeah.
you like
That's
a
what I've
celebrity
noticed.
when
Yeah.
you
No, it's
come in.
true.
Like,
It's
yeah,
true. It's true. Yeah. Like I was in Alexandria
yeah,
like 2 weeks ago, and it was the same thing. They were really like amped and excited, and like they were, a couple of them were rowdy, but it was like the fun rowdy. Like they were
yeah,
just so excited and happy sort of thing. And then like Cornwall and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. I
I'm
like
always a little
Cornwall.
nervous when I
Cornwall.
go to a small town because I'm like, ooh, what am I
Yeah,
going into? But so far, knock wood, so far it's been fine.
everyone should be nervous going into Cornwall. That's fine. But, but
But I'm like, okay, I'm with like 5 other people who won't let something happen to me. So I'll be
yeah,
fine. But yeah, it's always been fun. It's always been fun. And I like, as much as I like doing like like local indie shows and clubs, I do like going to other markets, like to other small towns and performing in the bar or at the Legion. I love it. I think it's fun.
do you see like a difference between Kingston and Ottawa when you come down and perform? Like
Yeah.
maybe in what they laugh at your set? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how so? How do you?
Um, I find that I find the audience in Kingston is more open to laughing versus, say, like at a club, in the club setting. I find
Yeah,
they're in Kingston, they're more open to laughing versus here where it's like you have to like earn the laugh.
yeah.
Like they're not
That's
just gonna
literally,
laugh.
it's a universal thing. That's what I
Yeah.
say about Ottawa too. I was like
Yeah.
Kingston and Oshawa as well. They want to laugh, whereas
Hmm.
like Ottawa, it's a lot
It's
of
like
like you
make me
need to,
laugh.
yeah, you need to make me laugh,
I'm
and
not just gonna give you my laugh. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. That's what I've noticed. Montreal too. Montreal is like make me laugh.
yeah. I think
Not just
there's,
gonna
I don't
not
know.
gonna make this easy for you. Then it's not that they're like hostile. They're not, but you have to make them laugh. They're not
I
just
think
gonna give it to you.
I think it's kind of the same thing as what I was like explaining before, where Kingston's still pretty small. Like, and we only have Absolute Comedy. We only have the one comedy club. So until I started doing shows, and Ryan Denis here is another comedian, does shows, there's not a lot that goes on. So when people see the comedy, they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
That would make a huge difference versus a larger area where they're like, I can see comedy anywhere. I
yeah,
can go to
and
at least three different places and see it. Yeah.
it would take me 30 seconds as well to name every single comedian in Kingston. And you can't do that with Ottawa or Toronto or whatever. It's
No.
like,
Yeah. Cause I think like I know most of the comics in Kingston.
most of the, I think
Most
you
of
know
them.
all of them who are
If not
still
all.
here. Yeah, all of them who are still here, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you know them. Yeah.
Because
Couple
I don't
moved
know
away.
all the comedians in Ottawa. I don't know
No,
who they all are. You know? I know a lot of them, but I don't know them all because there's so many. You know, and Toronto, forget about it. Probably thousands in Toronto and other markets. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's where it's been so cool with Kingston is to see. It was about 2 years ago when when I really started like putting together the open mics, and that's when like I got Ashley her first sets. I got like Luke like started in the mics. I didn't get them started, but like I got them started in Kingston. I got them stage time. And then just to see them develop over like the 2 years has been great.
Oh yeah,
Like
because
it's
the
been
two of them
awesome.
have gotten so good.
And then yeah, Pete and Tom and all like everyone. Uh, and then we've had people come in and out, and like I always give my friends shots. Like I've had people come up and try it once. I always try and get people to just try it, because I think there's some people who would actually like they would kill if they really tried to do it. And I think there's some people who think they know too much about stand-up comedy and need to go up there and be shut up
and be humbled. Exactly.
yeah, that's
I know.
and
Yeah.
either way is good for me. So
yeah, because I know I've had people tell you, and I'm sure you've heard this too, where it's like, oh, my buddies think I'm funny and they think I should be a stand-up, and it's like,
yeah,
sure, try it. Like write 5 or 6 minutes of material and find yourself an open mic and try it.
yeah,
You'll
and
never
you
know
can
until
tell
you
me
try.
that, that's fine, but don't let it be the first thing you tell me. When I'm like,
Okay.
hi, I'm Al, I'm a stand-up comedian, they're like,
There you
oh,
go.
my
Oh
friends
wow.
think I'm funny. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah.
I've gotten that on dates.
Yeah.
You know,
I
where
don't,
it's like, oh, you do comedy.
I hate it.
Yeah, I won't be doing
Well,
you after
the
that.
worst, yeah.
Just killed your chances.
Yeah. Oh, the worst is when they tell you like you're not funny enough to be a comedian or whatever when you're just like in a normal conversation.
Yeah, it's like I'm in normal
Yeah.
mode, you know. I'm not like juggling all the time.
Had so many people at bars tell me that. Like, oh, you're a comedian, you're not that funny. It's like I wasn't performing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Or
not
talking
on
to
right
you at
now.
all. This is the first time I've ever met you.
I don't know if they expect us to like be on unicycles and like honk honk.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, we have downtime and we're not always performing and
No, I don't. Yeah. It sucks because I don't like to tell people like the first thing anymore that I'm a comedian, but it's also like pretty much how I identify.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly. It's
like
such a big part of my life that it's
the
like I
biggest part
can't
of my
not
life.
say
Yeah.
it, you know? It's almost like I don't have kids, but like if I had kids and I never mentioned them, you know what I mean? Like that would just be weird. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I mention it. It's not the first thing I say, obviously, but it's like it comes up because it's such a big part of my life that it would be weird if I didn't mention it, sort of thing, you know, or acknowledge it somehow.
I always try and drop it in the first like 5 minutes for sure.
Hi,
I'm like, this is the most interesting thing about me. So here you go.
Exactly. It's true. Like I have it in dating profiles and stuff. Like when it's like there's a section of like what's a surprise thing that you do that nobody would expect you to, and stand-up comedy or or like in like the little bio that you have to write, it's like I spend, it's my passion, and I pursue it like regularly, and I perform, a few times a week, because that's the reality of it. If you want to get with this, you got to be on board with, I'm in demand.
I used to spend time on my dating profiles. Like, I mean, I had a 2.5 year relationship, but there was a gap there. But before, when I was in the dating profiles, I'd always like try and make them really intricate and make myself look, super smart or whatever and funny. And then now that I'm back on them, I just put up a picture and I just put, I look like Pete Davidson. And that's it. I've gotten way more matches than I've ever gotten before.
And the thing is, since I've put I'm a comic, I've gotten fewer.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, she's not going to want to laugh at my jokes. And I'm like, honey, I never want to laugh at your dumb jokes.
Yeah.
Like this. I'm not going to. But yeah, I think it's intimidating for some, because it shows, oh, she can speak, and she's probably smart.
Yeah.
And she'll see through my bullshit.
Yeah, I don't want that. She's not going to want me.
That. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
She's exactly. Yeah. So I've noticed since I started putting that in it, that I've gotten far fewer than I used to. But I'm going to leave it in.
I can definitely see. Yeah, I see men being intimidated by funny women all the time in comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's tons of funny women in comedy, who deserve their spots. And I think, and just there's just comedians in general, tons of funny comedians who deserve their spots. And when a lot of women get held back just because of maybe a manager or something who doesn't like women's comedy, or maybe because the manager's a man, he doesn't relate to the comedy, so he doesn't he does. It's not even. It might not even be sexist or he's not trying to be.
Yeah, it may not be intentional. Yeah,
because he's not a woman, he doesn't get why your jokes are as funny. I try to take a really objective look to every comedian that goes up there. Mm-hmm. So I love having different perspectives. That's when I book my lineups, I try and book them. I don't just try and book based on gender or race or anything like that, but on perspective is the biggest thing. So
that's
I know
huge,
I'm not going to book 4 comedians who all have the same perspective on whatever, the same thing. I want to hear different. I want to hear conflicting viewpoints in jokes. That's what I like too.
Yeah, and, or some off the wall perspective because the person is of a certain age or a certain background or something, some way that is not a conventional way.
Well, that's what I've told you too, is why I believe you were successful coming right out the gate, is because you have such a unique perspective starting later in life. You had so much experience that I started when I was 25, so I didn't even I still don't know who I am yet, really. You know what I mean? Still figuring it out.
And I'm I know who I am. I have no fucks to give. I don't care. Yeah, and that's kind of liberating, because I was talking to Dan Allaire about the same thing, because we're about the same age. I'm a few years older, but we're pretty much same generation, and we both started later in life. And we're saying that we had, because we have all that life experience, that we have a lot of material, a lot of source material. Because I was telling someone the other day, I could probably do 4 hours on the shit my ex-husband put me through.
Yeah.
I could probably just do hours on that.
That's the hardest thing right now for comedians about writing, in this pandemic, is because none of us are out there really living life. So none of us are out there getting real new experiences except the pandemic. So I mean, all of us are trying to write jokes about that, but what else are we doing?
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. When you're locked up for a year, you
it's
know.
hard to go out and travel or do whatever right now and get some new
Mhm.
experiences and get some new material.
Right, right. Because I
Like,
found that I'm like I've been able to write some stuff about like current, like what's happened in the last year, but I find like the stuff that I like the newer stuff that I'm writing and trying out now is I'm going back into like the recesses of like,
uh-huh.
I'll be watching TV and something, I'll see something on TV and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember, this thing I did or this thing that happened years ago, and I'll bring it forward, sort of thing,
I'm
and try and write about that.
I'm trying like a new style where basically like just kind of like a late night comedy style where like I find an article and then I'm just like, how many funny things can I think about this article right now? And then, like
Yeah.
maybe the jokes don't end up in my set because they're not that funny, but at least I'm still writing jokes.
Yeah, exactly. You're still having the
Yeah.
creative process going.
And then
Exactly.
like every fifth article or something, you will find something that is funny and should stay in the set.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Because
and like
because we're
that's
I have trouble with like say how we're talking like this, or I'm talking with other people and I'll be like, oh my God, I can really use this. And then I don't know how to do it.
uh-huh.
That's the issue that I have. Or what I tried doing before was like I've always just talked to myself, like I might talk out loud, and I've been doing it more out loud in the last year. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm saying some good things, and I'll like start recording myself on my phone and it's gone,
Yeah.
or it just sounds too, it wasn't coming out as naturally as I was saying it before. So I'm struggling with that, but I know I have to write it down first, and then maybe in a couple of days something will come and I can flesh it out. But yeah, I still struggle with how to capture these thoughts.
I always write down the idea or like put it in my phone and it'll always just be a couple words and then I'll go back to it and be like, what the hell does that mean?
That's happened
Like
to
what
me too.
yeah, what
Because it's
was I
like, oh, I'll
thinking there?
remember. So you just put like a few keywords,
Yeah,
and then you go back, and I'm like, I don't know where I was going with that.
yeah.
It's true. Because the thing is, unfortunately, you can't always like stop and write it all out. Like,
No.
you could be driving, you could be in the middle of something. Oh, excuse me. I should have turned off my ringer. But yeah, like I could be driving or in the middle of something, and I'm like, I can't just stop and go, grab my phone or whatever and write it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a few days ago, I had something in my head, and I think I was washing dishes or something, and I was like, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to write it down. I forgot it.
Yeah.
And the stupid thing is, it's like it came up like maybe 3 or 4 times, and I kept saying, write it down, and then it would come back, write it down. And now that I can't remember what it was, it's gone. Like,
You're always filming your sets, right? Most of them.
yeah, as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Do you watch them like right away afterwards or what's your process with that?
Most times I watch them right away, like when I get home. I think there was only one time that I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
It was because I bombed really bad. I forgot my set. I forgot like half my set as the bit was coming out of my mouth,
Yeah.
gone. And I was like, it felt like hours. And then it was long because when I listened to it, it was like, it was good like 15 to 20 seconds, which is long. And
Yeah.
it came back, but I was like rattled after. So I think that's the only one like off the top of my head that I was like, I waited like 2 or 3 days before,
Yeah.
just because I like to, I watch them just to hear what I said.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I don't always remember what I said or how I said it. And then just to pick up like on any weird ticks that I might do on stage. Like I tend to look down a lot, and
Yeah.
I fidget with the mic cord, mainly because I'm afraid to trip and fall over it. But I
Yeah.
watch it for stuff like that. Yeah.
I do this thing where I completely ignore the audience and just and just look other places like constantly. But I don't know. I feel like if I'm in the pocket up there, then whatever. But Yeah, I've noticed ever since I started doing that. I never used to film myself. I only used to maybe like record my sets here and there. But now I've started going off the cuff a lot more. Like started trying
Yeah.
stuff on stage because now I'm like I can hear myself and like hear if it was a good idea or not. I've
Yeah.
definitely started going like I still have my jokes pretty much written out in the way I want to say them, but I've really started like maybe improvising some tags on stage or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Same with me. And I want to capture those.
yeah, I want to capture like my ticks too. The other day I at Musiki, oh man, that was the first show I ever sat down on the stool. First of all, never done that
Okay.
before. Sat down on the stool and I was just like spinning around. Like I was in my, it was a stool that spins. I was just on
Oh,
stage like spinning around.
were you going all the way around or just like
I was
half?
trying to. I don't think they went all the way around. So I would go like halfway and then when it spin me back. But yeah, we had some hecklers through the show and then I ended up making like one of them cry. So that was a milestone. But
Oh my God.
I'm not
Yeah, well,
like real
yeah.
proud of it, but it's like it's a milestone.
Yes. Yes. Because a few weekends ago, it was I think it was New Talent Showcase at Yucks. And there was this obnoxious family there. And it was like the parents and their two daughters, and they were wasted already, all of them. And they were just, and it's not even that they were heckling people, they were having their own conversations and they were
Mhm.
sitting right up front.
Yeah.
And like so many people like had to say, can you shut up, please? And so when I was up there, the first thing I said was, I'm watching you guys, like,
Yeah.
stop it, sort of thing. And at one point, they were talking, and I stopped and went into like teacher mode. Like, I just shot them. I did one of these things.
Yeah.
And I shot daggers at them, and I was like, oh my. Like this. And I was like, excuse me.
Yeah.
But like, they were so obnoxious. Like, one of the managers had to go and say, can you keep it down? And towards the end of the show, it was the act before the headliner. One of the girls came up to the bar and was like flipping out at the managers, like, how dare you tell us to calm, to keep quiet and blah blah blah. We're here to have fun. All the while there's somebody on stage trying to do their
Yeah.
stuff. People are turning around and looking, and this woman who was in the audience got up, came to the bar, and she's like, excuse me, you need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then she went back, and we're like, yes, we love her. But then like Batman, she just disappeared after the
Yeah.
show, because I know the managers were like, oh, we want to give her like free passes. A couple of us want to buy her a drink or pay her bill or something. And she
Yeah.
just like vanished into the night.
That's
But
kind of
those
like
people
what
were
happened.
awful.
That's what happened the other night is most hecklers don't even think they're heckling because they're not like booing you or anything. They're just
Yeah.
being loud and
Yeah.
talking or interrupting your setups or you won't let you get to a joke
Yeah.
or
I hate
answering your
that.
hypothetical questions or
You
like
just want to be like, shut up. Have you never
yeah,
been out
I'll be
before?
like like that's what triggered me the other night. I think I was just saying like a random joke. I was just like, "Oh, I don't even know what day it is anymore because of the pandemic." And then the girl yells out, "It's Friday." And I was just like, I didn't fucking ask, okay? I was like, shut the fuck up. Like,
They think they're helping. And it's like, no,
yeah,
you're not.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh, and then the
that's what I
mother got
mean.
all like testy because the same thing, somebody out there, like somebody on stage asking like a hypothetical or something, and you can hear her say, oh, don't answer, we're not supposed to talk.
Yeah.
It's like, you bitch. Like,
That's
just
right. I just
leave.
would have been like, no, you're not supposed to talk.
Exactly. We're not supposed to talk, okay? Shh.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh, you petty bitch.
yeah. I don't
Oh
know
my
who
God.
goes to I don't know. A lot of people go to comedy shows to talk. I know that.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. Like, we want you to have fun. And it's like, because we're not talking about like you say something really funny and they're like, oh my God, ducks.
Yeah,
Haha. But they're like actually having conversations with each other or arguing or or something. But like that night was weird because there was another woman sitting behind them with her boyfriend, and she laughed at everything.
Yeah.
And so one of the comics said to me, it's like either she's drunk or she's on something. And we're like, because we're just watching her and she's just dying of laughter the whole time. And her boyfriend was like holding her, like almost like it looked really possessive to me. And then he relaxed and she fell. She fell out of the chair. It just
probably
rolled
on
onto the
something.
floor. And we were just like, what the hell is happening? Because a couple of us looked at each other like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
It was crazy. Crazy.
Oh
my God.
That's what most hecklers don't even know they're heckling. And that's the problem. And then when they get told, they get, kind of upset or offended because they've been pointed out.
Yeah, they get defensive.
But also had like people apologize and like people be nice about it. And just they were actually like,
I don't think most people are not assholes. That's the thing.
No.
Like, they're
they
not
actually just do not understand the protocol of a comedy show, basically.
Yes.
They've maybe
but unless you're spoken to, don't say anything.
I also think a lot of people truly, besides maybe Netflix specials, haven't seen stand-up comedy. And if they've seen stand-up comedy, they've seen like videos of hecklers and like comedians destroying hecklers or whatever. So they think that's what comedy is, like live comedy.
Yeah, because I know that was a part that I used to think that, and that's what kept me off the stage for like 40 years that I never tried it because I was like, I don't want to be heckled.
It literally kept me from going to comedy clubs to watch. I just thought it was just going to be like drunk people yelling at a guy on stage or whatever. And then when I went and saw my first comedy show, like that's when I decided I wanted to do comedy. So I was like, oh no, there's a performance involved here. It's not just like a guy in a club. Like,
because I remember a veteran comedian saying, I've had a 30, 40-year career and I've been heckled maybe 5 times in my whole career, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I thought it was like every, you're on stage just getting, attacked.
Well, yeah, like we were just saying, like, I don't think I've ever truly been personally heckled. Like someone saying like, get off the stage or something like that, or like you suck or anything. It's just been people being loud. Yeah. People talking through, like that's it.
Or like you said, answering rhetorical questions or commenting on your jokes. But I've never been personally attacked on stage. I've never gotten like, get off the stage, you fat bitch. I've never gotten that or anything like that. I'd be very upset if that ever happened. I'd be ready to fight. I'd be like, who said that? I can't see you through the plexiglass. But no, I've never been personally attacked.
To be honest, even as a producer, I think I've only ever seen like, 2 or 3 real heckles of like audience members. Like, and it probably was warranted. Like the comedian was probably terrible or just said something bad. So they were like, get the fuck off the stage or whatever. I've seen it a couple times, but it was after they probably just said something racist. So
because I've seen comics say like horrible things that you would say, okay, if you're gonna heckle, go ahead, and no one said anything. Like the room, the temperature in the room like dropped 40 degrees, but nobody shouted out anything. Like the vibe in the room definitely changed, but no one said anything. So
that's the worst reaction you can get. If someone yells out at one of my jokes, I don't care. If like my joke bombs and there's just silence, like then that's how I know that probably change that one.
Yeah, exactly. That didn't work. I know.
Like I was saying before though, with my jokes, so like I really do have to look at the audience because sometimes they're not laughing, but they're like this, like they're like holding it back. And like, so sometimes I do just have to look.
It's true because not everybody does like a big a laugh out loud,
I don't really laugh out loud that much like at other comedians unless like something really kills me. But like I'm always sitting there.
Smile,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
smiling
always
or
sitting
I'll
there like
do some
laughing to myself at what you just said or whatever. But like
exactly.
then I realize that like I'm kind of being a dickhead audience member and I should probably laugh because I am a comedian
So we
and
can
like
hear
I'm telling
it.
people to laugh and then I'm just sitting there like my arms crossed. Like so
It's
maybe I
like
should laugh at other people's jokes.
it's true. Like, yeah, laugh out loud. Laugh out
Yeah.
loud. Because I know I've done this twice to Pete. If he's been at a show where I'm performing and I've said something, and the thing is, he knows my act. He's seen my stuff so often. And one time I threw out the C word, and he
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it. And I just saw him do this. He's laughing, but he's like, oh. And then a couple of weeks ago, the same thing. I threw something out there, and he just went, but he's laughing.
Yeah.
But that's, I always know when I got Pete when he does this.
No, there was one time, I think it was a dark comedy show, September 11th, 2 years ago. I had Mark Hughes come in. It was me and Mark Hughes. And I opened the whole show. I can't even remember the joke because I know I only said it once. and I said whatever it was, and the room was completely silent. And Pete just went, "Oh God." And then I was like, okay, I don't think I shouldn't have opened with that one for sure. But,
That's such a Pete reaction. Oh God.
yeah, it was the exact same thing. He was just like, oh man, no.
Oh my God, that's too funny. That's too
I
funny.
find though with me, my jokes sound worse than they are. So like sometimes people just hang on to like one word that I said and then think it's like really like offensive.
Yeah, like it's almost like they freeze at that word and they don't hear the rest of it. You know,
Yeah.
they're like, ah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like as soon as I say the words "and Frank," it's kind of hard to dig myself out of that. And then, but they're like, okay, they're also kind of on board. They're like, where is this
like,
going?
Yeah, where is this going? What's he going to do with this? Like they're cautiously like, we're intrigued.
Yeah,
but
we're about to watch
scared.
someone get canceled. Yeah.
Exactly. They're like, I've never seen someone get canceled live before.
Yeah.
Right before my eyes, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. But yeah, so with did you say that only like the clubs are running shows now with these new regulations in Kingston?
Like, yeah, there's restaurants are open, but like it's hard to run a show there with regulations. I got the Mansion, which is big enough to, it's kind of like Absolute Comedy in a little bit way. But I know Absolute's still open, and like most of the businesses here are all just running like curbside in Kingston. So
yeah, that's what it's like here too.
Yeah, and I think as patio season gets here, like there's a lot of patios in Kingston, so places will open up a bit more, and there'll be a lot more venues for us to do shows, but it's going to be outdoors probably. And
no singing or dancing.
Oh yeah, no dancing.
No
we can't have any dancing
singing.
acts. It ruins my whole thing.
Exactly. I can't do my interpretive tap dance karaoke.
Oh man.
/ comedy.
This time last year I was working on this killer dance routine. I was gonna unveil it. Now I can't legally.
I can't. Legally I can't because the regulations.
Yeah. I was gonna start my musical comedy career, can't do that.
Exactly. Everything came to a screeching halt, so much for my dance career. I know. Yeah. Well, I hope to get out to Kingston soon.
I'll definitely book you for sure as soon as.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm rolling with the punches here. So let's say like the show works. The show works with Jeff Leeson on Wednesday. Then I might start booking like some mics out of there, and then I'm still going to be pretty cautious with all these we're just booking shows. You have to like I don't want to book obviously I don't want to book like 4 or 5 comedians from Ottawa on the same show. Like I don't want to bring 5 people from Ottawa into Kingston. Not a good look, not good for safety.
Yeah.
But bring in 1 or 2, make sure they're tested, make sure they feel fine, whatever.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, I don't want to book too many open mics that have like 10 people on, at a
Yeah,
time.
you want to
So
keep them as like
probably
relatively
go down to
small.
like 6 people, 6 or 7
Yeah,
people. And then,
exactly.
so things will change. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
good
when the
thing is,
regulations loosen and more people are vaccinated and things are going down, then, you can do the like bigger lineups, bigger crowds and stuff like that.
yeah,
But yeah, for the time being, I think you're that's a good call to keep it reasonably small.
the good thing is we do have like really big plans in Kingston right now for bringing comedy to different venues. I've been talking to the city to have it actually be like a street performance in the summer and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Downtown. So, um, we have huge plans in place, and just hopefully, COVID doesn't kick our ass again and make us go
Yeah.
into a lockdown. So,
Yeah.
it's really cool when I'm booking all these things, and reaching out to Ottawa comedians and stuff. The last Tommy's open mic I tried to book for, there's like 30 comedians reached out for those spots.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. So that's something that's like really cool. Just like it's cool to see building the community in Kingston. So I'm going to try and my goal basically is to have like 1 open mic a week,
Yeah.
and then bring in one-off shows. So that being said, I can bring in different Ottawa comedians. I can give a lot of people stage time, and hopefully we can just recover and all get back to shows in some kind of normal capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
If it will come back, so it's when, it's just we don't know when.
It's coming back in a different way.
In a different,
it's just,
exactly. It's not
yeah.
going to be the same. It can't be the same, but
Yeah.
it'll be different. Like I remember having this conversation where I'm like, if it means that we have to wear a mask all the time, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If we're in like a place that's filled to capacity, but you got to keep your mask on, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That's fine,
Or even it comes down to like signing some kind of waiver to enter the building or something. Like you accept whatever. Like I don't know how far it's got to go, but like
right.
I feel like there should be at least a little bit of free will on some people to be able to go out and enjoy.
Yeah, where you make the decision. Just like if you're like if you sign up to go bungee jumping or something, you sign a waiver saying that if your cord breaks or or something happens to you, you're not going to hold the organization responsible because you made the choice. I'm going to do this.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want it to go that far, but like if it has to, then like if that's what we need to get people back in shows and stuff and whatever.
Yeah. Just like a version of what's happening now, that you give people your phone number, like for the contact tracing, just something like that. Like I don't have an issue with that,
And like as other things come out, like maybe in a couple of years or whatever, we have rapid testing or whatever, or in a year, we have like available testing on site, and then you can test people and let them in. That's
hopefully it's easier than like, as Ashley puts it, getting like a pap smear up the nose. Hopefully it's something a little less
invasive.
It's still weird. It would stabbing my brain.
It would still be weird to show up to like a comedy club and that they'd be like, "Okay, spit in this cup."
It's true. It's like any sort of like extraction of something will still be weird.
Yeah.
Or they like take your temperature. Like I've been to places where they take your temperature before you go in, stuff like that. But as long as it's not the swabbing of the brain. Right before, because I think that would like kill my evening. I'd be like, I'd be like, oh, traumatized.
Yeah.
Have you been tested? Have you had the test?
Yeah, but Yeah, not in the last little bit, but yeah, I have. It sucks.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't had it. I don't want it. I don't want to
Yeah,
get tested.
yeah,
And yeah. So I'm because I know people who've had it and they're like, it's not pleasant. It's not. They're like, it's
yeah.
not. Yeah, nobody said it was like excruciating, but everyone has said it's not pleasant.
It's just really uncomfortable and like kind of felt like I don't know, like going into a pool and getting water up your nose or something.
I hate.
Like
Oh, I
that's what
hate
it
that
kind of felt
feeling.
like to me. Yeah,
I'm just like I can feel that right now. I don't like
yeah.
that feeling.
That's kind of
Oh
what it felt
boy.
like to me, at least. But yeah,
Yeah, like I hope I don't have to get tested at any point. I haven't had to, thank God. I'd like to keep it that way.
yeah,
'Cause I think I'll turn into like a big giant baby at the point, or be like
yeah,
yeah. So hopefully I won't have to get tested at any point. But if I have to, I have to, but let's
yeah.
hope not.
Yeah.
So, where can people find you if they want to follow you and keep up with? Because you also have a podcast or a couple of podcasts going.
Yeah. I have three podcasts. Professional Amateur, which is my interview. It's kind of like this. I haven't done it in a while though, but season 2 will be coming back soon.
Okay.
I got
I'd love to
Purple
be a
Monkey Dish.
guest.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Purple Monkey Dishwasher, which is my Simpsons podcast, and I got Jokes and Chokes, which is my MMA podcast. You can find them all at AB3 Comedy on Facebook. That's the best place, and they all each have their own individual groups as well. If you want to follow those, and I am AB3 Comedy on all social media. So
Okay.
at AB3 Comedy everywhere, you'll be able to find me there.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds great. Okay. Well, this was wonderful to catch up with you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait to have you
I
on the
think
show
we
again.
had a really in-depth conversation the last time I was in Kingston. I really talked for hours after
I
the
know, and
show.
I wish we filmed that one.
Oh yeah, that would have been
Because we
good. We
talked
should have filmed that.
at least a couple hours,
Yeah.
like strictly about comedy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we should have filmed that one. Well, next time we'll
Yeah.
film it. Next time we'll film it.
yeah, the Shooting the Breeze live on location. We'll do that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, post show live on location. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that was fun. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me tonight.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun to actually talk to some people.
Yes.
I think I need to get out and talk to people more. So it's great.
Right. Oh, what I wanted to ask you as well is, are you doing the fundraiser all in your head this year?
So I am. I'm kind of in the pre-planning stages because, like before, I was booking a live aspect of it,
right? And
now I can't. So, gonna go back to the original format that it was last year, and yeah, I am. I'm gonna start. I've started like putting out feelers and asking people, like just so they know when it is. I think it'll be April 16th to 18th.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday,
count
Sunday.
Me in this year again.
Yeah, and kind of the same format where we have speakers and we have musicians at night. And yeah, last year we had over 40 artists, and we had, I think it was $1,400, and ended up being 30,000 views, like collective out of everyone. Yeah. So the word got out, which was good.
Yes.
For mental health awareness. So
yes,
we will be doing it this year, hopefully April 16th to 18th.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. That's good to know. Yeah, and so anyone listening or watching, when the dates are made available, I'll also promote the dates, because it's a wonderful event, and you get perspectives from all walks of life. Because everyone's an artist who participates. So whether they're a musician or a stand-up comedian or what, but everyone talking and giving their own perspective on how mental health has impacted their own life. So it's a worthwhile cause, and it's a great event. So
And you can find that page. It's all in your head on its own on Facebook too. That's where the event will be broadcast from. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah.
So it's all in your head. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, Al.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Bye, everyone. See you next time.